Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna be doing live readings on the channel this evening. Do me a favor, if you can see this, give me a thumbs up, like the stream. I appreciate it. It really helps with the stream kind of getting out there, getting pushed into YouTube. I'll give everybody a little bit of time before we get started with this video. If you're new to my channel, we alternate every other Friday and we do donation-based readings. If you'd like to get a reading, we're gonna be doing tarot readings this evening. $20 donation for 1 card, $40 donation for 3 cards. Ask whatever you would like. If you'd like to get in the queue to get a reading, just scan the QR code right here. It's gonna take you to my PayPal where you're gonna make a donation. Please, if your name differs from your YouTube name, just let me know what your YouTube name is. And in the memo box, please be sure to include what your question is. Really helpful. I'm like doing a double header. I just got done recording the Sunday video and it's like 3 hours long. So hopefully my brain is here this evening. What's up, everybody? I see Karen's here. Hey, Claudia, I got you. Cassandra, this is your first time. Well, it's okay. I can get your question. So just let me know what question you have. What's up, Leslie? Hey, Love Light. And Davers is in the chat. My goodness, how is everybody doing? It's like the start of the weekend. Is the moon in Pisces right now? I feel like it is, right? I should check. Because I feel like everything's all over the place. It's about to be in Pisces, so it'll be in Pisces later tonight, tomorrow morning. Okay, so it's the late degrees of Aquarius. That's why things are so electrified. So we're gonna be doing tarot readings. I've already got a list of people. If there's any other level 3 people that would like to get their reading for the month, let me know. I've got you, Claudia. But if you guys join level 3 memberships, you're gonna get a reading once a month. You can choose tarot or astrology. Generally, we're here almost every Friday. And then, yeah, you're basically the top of the list. So we read for the level 3 subscribers first, so you guys don't have to wait. So let's see who we got here. I'll let you guys know who's in the queue. What's up, Chris? It has been a week. Says Leslie, I agree. In the queue, we've got Sabrina, Adrian, Vanessa, Salamar, Cassandra, David, Leslie, Miss V. Please like and share the stream. Thanks. Okay, guys. So we're gonna start first with Claudia. What's up, Claudia? Claudia says, a new woman has entered my life, showers me with attention and love, but says we're just friends. I don't buy it. I feel like we have a very strong connection, like she could be the one. Will we be together? We're spending the weekend in San Antonio for her birthday next weekend. Okay, well, that sounds like a very romantic weekend in San Antonio. Let's see what the cards say. In terms of, oh, those were jumping out. What I see for you. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So we've got 8 of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, 5 of Cups. It all came up straight up. So we're going to read the straight up interpretations. Basically with the 8 of Wands coming up here, it's talking about things moving very quickly, okay? So stuff moving fast. This can be a card that is an indication of travel, so it can be about going places, it can be about the momentum of the relationship kind of going quite quickly. It can also talk about physical stuff, intimacy, stuff connecting to like sexual related things, so like the relationship connection, even though there isn't an official relationship, could go to the next level. So I wonder if there's going to be other levels of like intimacy that's kind of being revealed. Then we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So that's about things changing for the better. This is yet another card that can be associated with travel. It might talk about the dynamic of you guys going places and being in a different place and having that experience and just the fun and just kind of being in the moment. This is generally a good luck card though. So when this card comes up, it talks about positive shifts and things changing. revolving around the fate of a situation at play. These two cards at first tell me that there is a sense of like, okay, we're going to keep this going. We're going to keep up the momentum. We're going to see what's going to kind of pan out. And like, maybe this is like meant to be. Maybe this is like fate playing a role and bringing us into each other's lives, and this being a turning point where, you know, we're both kind of having this experience that's very exhilarating and exciting and like meant to be. Capped off with a 5 of Cups. So there can be a feeling of mourning, loss. There can be a feeling of regret. Grief can come up. Discontentment can come up. So this is like this feeling of this forward momentum, and then kind of like somebody hitting the brakes, or a sense of like missed opportunities that can come up. So it's like a very different card than the first two, which is all about momentum. As a confirmation card, I pulled always the bottom of the deck. I don't pull a 4th card, but the bottom of the deck is the 9 of Pentacles. So this is about getting what you need out of the situation, making sure that your bases are covered. There can be a sense also of focusing on like leisure and reward after effort. So there can be a sense of you going, okay, we go on this trip, we go and we do something together. It's very exciting. Everything starts kind of this forward motion, and then you come back to reality and it's like a record scratch, and somebody's like, yeah, but we're still like not together. You know, like we're not going there anytime soon, or not right now, or I'm not ready, or that we're just friends. And there can be a sense of like getting kind of, feeling kind of like whiplashed by the situation, because all signals read green light. And then when you come back and when there's time for like that emotional connection, you're still not getting the emotional validation or the emotional commitment that you're looking for. So when I ask the deck, okay, what's the confirmation for that? Is it saying it's not going to pan out, or is it just saying that this is going to be a delay and you're disappointed that you're not continuing to see like that physical development or that growth? The 9 of Pentacles coming up does make me feel like it's still a card revolving around success, but it's success after efforts. It's the success that you get after taking your time, after it being a process of having to invest time and energy, and also like going at a slower pace. So I do feel like I would not expect immediate results or some kind of immediate commitment upon coming back from going and having this adventure. There's almost like a need to take a step back and be like, okay, now we're going to integrate and see how it goes. And not getting disappointed, I think, if there is like a period of not as much connection or as much togetherness, or if it doesn't automatically equate to, yes, now we're taking the next step. There's also this feeling of like both of these cards being associated with fire, and the 5 of Cups being associated with water, and like that's the emotional side of things. So I wonder, like, is it a situation where somebody is going through all the motions of being in a relationship, but they have some emotional hangups with commitment? Like, have they been hurt in the past? Do they not want to be fully emotionally kind of tied to somebody because they're afraid of, not being, considered, or getting their heart broken? Are they afraid of being vulnerable because of something that they've gone through in the past? So there can be some sense of them being stuck and connected and not being able to move on from something. So you're like, I don't understand. Your actions are kind of indicating you're all in, but you're telling me emotionally you're not there yet. The 9 of Pentacles could be talking about being patient with this person. That patience does prevail. That if you are willing to put in the work, you will see success, and you will also see a reward for your efforts. And that probably the best way to move forward in trying to see if this could potentially be a long-standing relationship is as a result of you going, okay, slow and steady wins the race. We're not going to kind of rush through this. Can take 9 weeks, can take 9 months. I do get the impression that you're going to have to wait it out and see what happens after you get back. And if you feel like that person is, kind of taking a little bit of space, just stay present with the process and realize that there may be things going on where they're still recovering from past hurts, where they're not totally putting themselves completely out there. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Let's see who else we have in the queue. I think that's all we have for level 3. If you guys are tuning in, you want to get a reading, I'll leave the queue open probably for like 20 minutes or so. Claudia says, she's a Taurus. Slow and steady. They only come when they want. Doomer Boomer says, I sent to PayPal. Gotcha. Okay, just let me know if your name is different on PayPal. Is it Michelle or Jennifer? Just let me know. Okay, so we've got Sabrina is next. Sabrina says, 3-card reading. Does he want to be with me? Will we get back together? I'm dealing with a Cancer Sun, Capricorn Moon, and an Aquarius rising. We'll switch cards so we can see better. You're welcome, Claudia. So the full moon person you're dealing with, Cancer Sun, Capricorn Moon, Aquarius rising. So are you guys going to be together, or will you get back together, and do they want to be with you? You're a Taurus Sun, Cancer Moon, Scorpio rising. So you've had a Mercury retrograde in your 7th in opposition to your Sun in the 1st. So definitely hard communicating and not getting clear in terms of like what that other person wants, right? So something about this makes me feel like there has been lots of room astrologically for miscommunication. Then you had that lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which is really heavy. Here is a return of that Four of Cups energy. So the cards that I get for you are the King of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Nine of Swords reversed. Well, he's definitely thinking about it. There is a sense of like having anxiety revolving around, you know, what's going to happen, how things are going to play out, what's going to go on between the two of you. Stress and anxiety seems to be the key. I don't know how much you know about astrology, but, you know, Capricorn, having an Aquarius rising, you know, they're having Pluto in their 1st house now, and they're going to see retrogrades and still eclipses and lots of energy in their 4th house. So in terms of this person that you're dealing with, yes, they're a Cancer, but they've got all of this change going on with them emotionally at the bottom of their chart. So it's interesting that the King of Cups comes up. For you being a Taurus Sun, Scorpio rising, I feel like this can be talking about you as well, being like, hey, I want to manage these emotions that are coming up. Like, how can we remedy this situation? The King of Cups can be talking about a Scorpio or a Scorpio rising. It can be talking about a water sign, so it can be a Cancer. In general, I think this is relating to him, though, because he's a Cancer Sun. I feel like this is about him trying to get a hold of his emotions. And like generally, he can be somebody who makes decisions very carefully, especially being a Cap Moon. The King represents somebody who is a master of their emotions, a master of their relationships. They're able to kind of make decisions that are very mature and very grounded. I also feel like with the Four of Cups coming up, there is a sense of him being sensitive, emotional, longing for something that he can't quite figure out. He can't find fulfillment. He's not sure what he wants. He doesn't really know entirely like why it feels like something is missing. If you see this card, you've got somebody at a party and everybody's like having a good time and celebrating and cheersing, and he's just sitting there just kind of like disassociating. So this card comes up a lot for clients when they're like, I don't know, just, you know, the relationship doesn't bring fulfillment. I'm not really feeling like I've got a purpose in life. I'm not really feeling excited about anything. Like there is a sense of feeling like something is lacking. And when this card comes up, it can also be an indication that they are not doing the necessary work on their part. Everybody around them is participating actively in the party. So I'm wondering with the King of Cups and the Four of Cups coming up, if there is a sense of him needing to do some deep soul searching, especially revolving around why is he behaving the way he's behaving? Why does he feel the way that he feels? Does he feel like he needs to kind of deal with something from the past? I know a lot of Aquarius risings are having issues revolving around where they want to live. Or their family, or dealing with like emotions revolving around the past. So I'm wondering, is there stuff coming up that's kind of upsetting him in these departments? Is it making him anxious and not really sure where, you know, things are going to kind of, you know, what's going to pan out, or where he's going to end up living, or what's going on with a family situation, or if he's ever going to get himself out of a funk. And he's in his own head, he's in his own world right now. If you're asking, you know, does he care about me? Is there an emotional connection? The King of Cups is somebody who does care. He says what he means what he says. But it almost seems as if he can't pull himself out of some of his own issues right now to be able to really show up and be an active participating member in the relationship. I think that with the Four of Cups, it's kind of agitating because there can be a sense of being like, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you just talk to me? Or why can't you just snap out of it? And the Nine of Swords is a card that does talk about anxiety, stress, coming out of some painful or difficult situations. It also makes me feel like there can be a sense of getting ready to open up and like let it all out and let it all go and tell you, you know, what's been wrong and what's been on his mind, and the fact that this has been bothering him or keeping him up, or he's been stressed out over, you know, some kind of dynamic where, you know, he's worried that nothing is really making him happy. So maybe he pulled back also because he realized that him being in a relationship hoping that he's going to get fulfillment, if he's not getting it, is not beneficial for you either. So there can be a sense of him seeming like he's standoffish or not interested, but when in reality he's realizing like, me being here isn't really fair to this other person. To get confirmation for the Nine of Swords reversed, I get the Page of Pentacles to figure out like, okay, so he's stressed out. What is he going to do about it? This can be like a message. This can be like an offer. This can be like a gift. It can be an exchange. So it's less about communication. It's more, can we get a cup of coffee? You know, can I send you, you know, a gift? You know, can you make some time for me? It's about physical actions, and actions speaking louder than words. It can also be an indication that he is in the beginning process of like really doing the work, working on himself, working on his self-esteem, working on career, working on money. I wonder about some of the retrogrades and the other energies that are going on in his fourth house, and if this is really revolving around like his home and his security. Because the Page of Pentacles can be talking about kind of getting the show on the road with like learning how to take better care of himself or financially provide. So there's probably a lot of questioning here. Do I think that there's feelings? Yes. Do I feel like you're going to reconnect to him? Yes. But I feel like you have to wait until he has something to offer you, right? Four of Cups can be 4 weeks. And the Nine of Swords reversed is after he's gone through his period of kind of working through everything and flushing it out, wanting to make contact and let you know what he's proactively doing to work on the situation. There's feelings there, but there's no guarantee that there is going to be a relationship until he actually goes and does like the necessary rebuilding and working on himself and restructuring himself. And right now that's in limbo because the Nine of Swords is like, did I ruin the situation? Is she going to pick up the phone? Am I ever going to be ready? If I reach out, am I getting myself back into a situation I cannot get out of? So he's really in his head right now, and he's definitely thinking about it. And it does look like there's going to be a connection, but you have to really make sure that he's doing the necessary work so he's not kind of like all over the place, because this has more to do with his insecurities or something going on with his foundation rather than you. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. Some of Mercury going direct in this next week is going to sextile Saturn. So being a Scorpio rising, it's going to sextile Saturn in your 5th house. So you can make sense of like what a romantic partner is thinking and what they're going through and maybe why they've been so quiet. So we've got Adrian. Am I saying that correctly? I know you. There we go. Did not add my question, but I want to know if my man will be home before the baby comes. I'm due at the end of the month, but the baby doesn't seem to want to wait that long. Okay, thank you for your question. So let's see what the cards have to say. If you guys are just tuning in, you want to get a reading, you can get in the queue. I'll leave it open for another 5 minutes or so. So let's take a look and let's see. You're welcome, Love Light. What's up, Sonia? Let's see if this baby is going to wait for dad, or if the baby's going to come sooner. The Devil card, timing and limitations. It seems like you, obviously, you want the baby's going to come when the baby's going to come, but the Devil card is a lot of like, patience, limitation, kind of being really fixated on a certain time restrictions, limitations. That can be talking literally about like not being able to get out of work. The confirmation card that I get is the Four of Pentacles. So it looks like it will literally be at the end of the month that he comes. It's not like a clear, like, yes, the baby's going to come early. So the tarot's not giving me a clear decision. The Devil card is talking about what it is that you potentially feel limited by. Just food for thought. Part of the exercise of the tarot is sometimes giving you advice or giving you feedback that you may not see or you may not be aware of. So when I think of the Devil card, it's like sitting around going, oh my God, am I going to do this by myself? Is like, he not going to be here? Like, what's going to happen? How am I trapped and limited? Like, where can I like not get out of this situation where I don't have support? What am I going to do? And like falling victim to that whole spiral, right? Obviously it's a really important thing, but the Four of Pentacles being the confirmation is reminding yourself, I have everything that I need. Everything is going to be fine. It's going to be provided for. I'm going to get there safely. My kid's going to come into this world safely. It's also, you know, my partner's going to break through whatever barriers are keeping them from being able to kind of get here. But I do feel like it does seem to kind of talk more so about the end of the month, that it will be the end of the month before that limitation is lifted and that person can physically be there. I also think that it's like Saturn. So Saturn's in Pisces right now. I don't know what your astrology is like, but part of it may relate literally to, you know, feeling this burden of, oh my God, am I alone? You know, Saturn in Pisces, what am I going to do? It's just all me. Like, how is this all going to work? And I think a lot of people are dealing with that one way or another. So there's like a need to kind of restructure and look at what it means to be alone. And while you may go through the process alone, I wonder if that's part of like a Saturn lesson for you right now. Like Saturn and Pisces literally for some people will materialize as being alone in a house, alone in a hospital, alone in a country, alone in a prison, because it is a Neptune-based sign. So yeah, Aries moon, Cap sun, and Sag rising. So the eclipse that you just had in your 5th house is revolving around the sudden themes, revolving around the baby. And Jupiter is about to go into Taurus and it's going to square Mars. So you want to look for like when the moon is going through Aries, Taurus, Cancer. That can be times where you can actually see that there can be action, because the 5th house and the 8th house generally is pregnancy or your ascendant sign. So if it goes over your ascendant sign as well. But be less focused on, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm so limited. I'm going to do this alone. Be more focused on everything is being cleared for me to make it possible for me to be able to have that ideal situation where everybody is there. But also start looking at, well, will you be alone? Will there be other family members with you? Do you have somebody else that would potentially take you to the hospital? Are you going to have somebody on FaceTime with him? You know, obviously nothing is going to fix not having that person there. But I do feel like a lot of it's about how you're looking at it and kind of changing the dynamic of the situation so you're not potentially creating more stress and materializing the very situation that you're trying to avoid, right? Hopefully that's helpful. Pisces moon, Libra rising. So Saturn's in his 6th, so he's gonna be working a lot. He's gonna be late. Wishing you a positive, healthy, you know, pregnancy and delivery. Hopefully it goes well. Keep us updated. Study, look at those moon transits. That's when you're gonna see the shifts happen. Hello, Malay. All right, so I'll leave it open for another minute or two, and then I'm going to close down the reading signups. I've got Vanessa, Salamar, Cassandra. You guys are all up on the list. Vanessa comes in with 3 separate questions. She says, number 1, does my daughter have an eating disorder or some type of gastrointestinal medical issues? Her eating habits have been a huge concern lately. Ten of Pentacles talks about being cautious, being picky, being particular. So that, I mean, usually 7 of Pentacles is somebody who's really assessing things before they make a decision, or they're looking at things before they make an investment or before they make a purchase. So 7 of Pentacles makes me wonder if there's issues revolving around getting enough nutrients and like substance. So there can be a sense of heavily restricting, counting calories, or on the flip side, not getting enough nutritional value out of what they are eating. But generally the 7 of Pentacles is, no, I'm not hungry. No, I'm not eating that. No, I don't want this. I don't want that. and being very, very, very particular with what they consume. Just knowing that I know her chart and that she's got Moon in Aquarius conjunct Neptune, there can be a sense of when emotions are coming into play, issues that affect the stomach or potentially affect the the eating habits or digestion. That's all very Moon related. But the Seven of Pentacles makes me feel like she may have some intolerances. She may have some issues revolving around allergies, or she might just be very picky in a sense of what she can actually eat or what she can tolerate. Generally, people who have that much Capricorn in their chart, you know, they lack nutrients like iron and calcium and magnesium. Like you need that if you have all that Capricorn. And I wonder if there's some deficiencies. That's possible. And I also think that the Seven of Pentacles is more relating to going through prolonged periods of not eating very much or being very selective with what they eat, and having some of those things coming up. Number 2, she says, my sister is struggling in a very ugly child service case. What can she do spiritually or legally to get her kids back ASAP? It's a tug of war between the kids' aunt and daughter. They're fighting for legal custody. So after this, we're going to close the sign-ups for readings. So you guys can get in now if you want. I get the Three of Wands, which does say that there is action and momentum moving forward. Like it does seem like things are going to progress forward, where at the very least, I do see this probably continuing legally, where she has like a fair fight, or she's going to have a decent opportunity to be able to state her case and like still visit and interact with children. So I don't see kids being kept from her. Three of Wands is like, I'm not stopping. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm still coming and going. I can interact. And the Three of Wands is also bringing attention to a matter. So I think it's a matter of like going and getting the appropriate help, right? So Three of Wands is like, I'm going to go and seek out, you know, an attorney that's going to specialize in this, or I'm going to go and seek out and get other people who are going to speak on my behalf in terms of my character and in terms of, you know, how I am as a parent, because it can be involving other people. I also feel like with this card coming up, it does talk about that there's going to be like messages or, you know, decisions or judgments that are going to be had, because he's got like a trumpet. So there's like an announcement, and it can be like a battle cry or a charge, basically saying, hey, I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to stop. You can keep saying and doing what you want to do. So it might just be a matter of like supporting her and telling her that she can't quit. Encourage her to work with the element of fire and maybe incorporate other people. So maybe asking other people to light candles to support her cause. I think this can also be about her working with the element of fire in general. So it's about her having more passion and motivation and energy to be able to kind of fight the good fight. But it's generally a very positive card. So it makes me feel like at the very least, she's going to get some good news or some good feedback. And it's about telling her not to give up and that she still has to kind of stay in contact with her children. And then number 3, I'm wondering if I should reach out to an old fling. Apparently he wants to talk, but I don't know if I should open that door because his family practices tarot, candles, etc. His name is Frank. His birthday is 6/2/82. Okay, so he's a Gemini. So let's take a look. So should Vanessa reconnect with Frank, even though he practices the devil's magic? We've got the Nine of Wands. Wah, wah. That's kind of like saying, like, are you sure you want to open that door? Which is literally what you said. Like, what was in the past was in the past, right? It's not unusual, just so you know, now that you're going to start having eclipses that are going to be happening in Libra and Aries, because you have Saturn and Venus in your 4th house, that at some point, whether this gets, you know, kind of brought up now or gets brought up down the road, When you start seeing eclipses in Libra, or when planets go through Libra the next 2 years, it's going to kick up that Saturn Venus in the 4th. So it means that it's going to bring back love from the past, especially because Saturn is connected to your 7th house. So, you know, my interpretation is like, this might be one of many. The 9 of Wands is really asking you, like, do you really want to go back into a situation where you were struggling, where it was all on you and you were like, I give up, there's no forward motion, like, what's the deal? It's less revolving around what he practices, what he could do, because I believe people have as much power as you give them. I think it's more going to be like, reflect on the situation and what went down in the past. When you had to go around with them in the past, were you kind of like, everything fell on you, you were the one who was kind of leading the relationship or pushing for change or for growth or trying to kind of, you know, make time for each other and like not getting the response that you wanted? Because if that's the case, be very careful opening that door, because you might feel like you're just going back into a similar dynamic where you're the one doing all the pushing. And the 9 of Wands leads to the 10 of Wands, where we're like, actually, no, I'm good. That's a wrap. So it's not that it's bad. It's just really take into consideration what happened last time, and that can kind of play out again. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Keep me updated on some of that stuff. Readings are now closed. They're closed. So if you guys got in, you got in right at the end. I'll update this really quick. Okay, let's see. All right, so moving on, we have now got Salamar and then Cassandra and then David. Salamar says, hi, Cancer, just general. What I most need to know, will my work situation get better? Will my work situation get better? Let's take a look. All right, so this was the order that they came in. We've got 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands. Looks like you're ready to kind of walk away and let something go. 2 of Pentacles makes me feel like you're already kind of feeling strapped. Strapped for time, taking on too much, having too much responsibility, trying to carry too many things. You know, 2 of Pentacles is feeling like you got your hands full, or maybe weighing your options. Like, do I stay or do I go? It can also talk about financial situations. So it's like, is it worth staying around? Is it going to pay out? Is this going to become more stable and more consistent? Is it going to be worth my time? And then you've got the 8 of Cups, which comes up in the center position, which talks about, you know, is it time for me to walk away from something? And is it time for me to leave something behind, right? That makes me wonder, you know, are you already thinking about leaving? Are you already kind of like, man, is my time here spent? Like, is it worth hanging on and hoping that things are going to change? The 2 cards for me that are the walking away cards would be the 8 of Cups and the 10 of Wands, because the 8 of Cups is when you have this realization that's like, I need to go and find something better. You know, it's going and finding the greener pastures, because realizing that you're not getting the emotional satisfaction or the support that you're needing in the current position. 8 of Cups can be disappointing though, because there can be the sense of being like, I'm at a loss, you know, they're not leaving me with any choice. I feel like if I stay, things aren't going to get better, and kind of feeling like you have no other choice but to find something that's going to be more beneficial, especially for mental or emotional health. Then we've got the 10 of Wands coming up. So the 10 of Wands does talk about picking up your toys and going home, being like, okay, this is too much. I'm going to wrap up this job or wrap up this month and then like complete this cycle. Can it mean that things cycle out at work? Yes, but I think that you're still going to find that there is some sense of feeling emotionally overwhelmed and unfulfilled. You know, things can cycle out, but you may find that you're still coming back to this feeling of this is going to keep going in waves, where you're not going to be feeling like you're getting what you need. I would really ask yourself if it's worth some of the emotional turmoil, right? Because 2 of Pentacles is weighing the options, and then the 8 of Cups is like, no, it's not worth it. It's time to move on. And then the 10 of Wands says, yeah, you know, I can go on to something else. I can complete this. It's going to be challenging because I'm going to have to look and I'm going to have to pack my stuff up and I'm going to have to see what else is out there. But it's about fulfilling and completing that process and knowing that there are some things that are just not worth a paycheck, right? Confirmation that you get is the Knight of Cups. So it is talking about really listening to your intuition, acting based off of emotion, following what your heart is telling you. And also anything revolving around new options and connections and offers that make the process of leaving a little bit easier. Hope that's helpful for you. Let's take a look and let's see. We've got Cassandra and then David and then Leslie. What's up, Tiny Penny? We're doing tarot tonight, but thank you for supporting. I appreciate it. Suzette says, I have 2 daughters, one named Candace and the other Marie. That's cool. That is awesome. All right, so let's see what Cassandra says. Cassandra says, live tarot reading, 3 cards. Let's see, did you give me your specific question? Do you have a specific question? There she is. I didn't submit a question. Sorry about that. I'm open to hearing whatever guidance. I'm a Taurus sun, Sag rising, Virgo moon. Ooh, so Jupiter going into Taurus is big. New health, new work stuff, new schedules, new habits. It's good for your Virgo moon too. It's going to be really great for getting work done. All right, so let's take a look and see what the cards say. Jupiter is your chart ruler, you know? So for Jupiter to be on the move in your chart as a Sag rising, that's important. So there's going to be a lot of work and a need to really focus on having pleasure throughout your daily routine. And as a Taurus sun, it's really great for your career. So awesome stuff. Let's see what the cards say. So this is the order that they came in. There's the return of that King of Cups. So we've got the Chariot, King of Cups, the Queen of Wands. I really like this for you. I feel like this is about the momentum of life really picking up. You know, the Chariot card talks about getting somewhere quickly. It can talk about having a plan so it doesn't feel like, you know, change is coming too quick. It can talk about cars. It can also talk about travel. Knowing that like Mars is going to go into your 3rd house, it's going to square Jupiter. You might see that there's a need to really like manage vehicles and tend to vehicles, which can definitely come up with the Chariot. I could also see this as like managing your schedule in a way so you do feel like you have more room to travel or have more fun throughout your routine. So if you want to not just travel, but you know, take new classes, go to the gym, like focus on trying to redirect your life in a different direction, making it possible to find that balance. The Chariot's also connected to Cancer, okay? And Cancer is your 8th house. So this can be talking about making positive changes to your emotional health, feeling more supported through your routine and also your health and your diet. It can be about herbs, right? It can be about grounding exercises. It can be about, you know, mental health exercises, anything like that that's going to help you feel like you have more stability. In the current position, we have the King of Cups, which can be talking about emotions, finding like you're really getting a handle on your emotions and your feelings and your mood. It can also talk about water signs coming in. So Cancers, Scorpios, Pisces, particularly men can kind of start coming into your life as well. That can be a sign that there's like an incoming potential new relationship or somebody who's coming in to kind of support you. And you know, the King of Cups is also like very emotional and very sensitive, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he's committed to his relationship. So I wonder if this is about you being like, okay, I'm committed to, you know, getting my work and other things in order. So I feel like I can be more present in relationships or for clients or for friends, all of that stuff. And then finally, the Queen of Wands is the final card. So that's, you know, you being a Sag rising. That can also talk about coming into this new version of yourself where you're feeling like you're having more fun, more spontaneity, more time for creativity, for adventure, and like really feeling yourself. And so much about the Jupiter and Taurus transit in your 6th house is like feeling good in your skin, and also like tapping into new creative abilities. So I wonder if this is going to be about you trying new creative projects out, having new hobbies, right? You're still having eclipses and the North Node in your 5th house. So it can be about really tapping into that inner creative or that inner child and like learning how to play and have fun. And like really organizing things in a way where you're like, yeah, work is chaotic, or like my schedule is really busy, but you know, it's really important that I'm making the time that I need to be able to stop, smell the roses, and enjoy life. So you're actively making that a priority, and it's going to be really great for your creative energies and also just your sense of self-expression. Like the Queen of Wands is so amazing as a Sag rising because it means that you're really taking life by the horns and you're like, okay, anything is possible. Maybe shifting a little bit away from some of that Virgo moon, Taurus sun, where it's like all work, no play. Now you're like, no, I work hard so I can play hard, and creating time for other things in your schedule. Okay, so could be a relationship thing too. It can be talking about that there's somebody coming into your life that's offering you the gift of relationship. It can be talking about a relationship, like a relationship rapidly evolving as well. Traveling, moving in, meeting family. These things can pop up if you're already in a committed relationship. Hopefully that's helpful. We've got Dave, Leslie, and then Miss V. And so David actually had a reading that was donated to him on his birthday. Somebody donated a 3-card gift reading, and it says, for whoever was kind enough to buy me a reading on my birthday, just ask your regulars who did this kind gesture, and I will return the reading for you. And I know who did it, so I'm going to do the reading, and they can take what they want from that reading. So I know that they are watching. So let's see what the cards say in terms of a general reading for this person. You're welcome, Cassandra. All right, so this is a general reading for the kind person who donated that reading to David for his birthday. He's always here. He is the hype man for the show. All right, so it was in this order. We've got the Strength card, the Queen of Swords, and the Nine of Cups. So essentially for this person, even though they weren't really asking for guidance, it looks like they received some guidance, and it looks like it's giving you a good message. It looks like there's something really positive that's coming. The Nine of Cups is a card that deals with wishes being granted. So ask and you shall receive, right? It's kind of like the genie rubbing the lamp and having like that one wish that you have. So the Nine of Cups comes up for me is like something is being granted. It's the catch-all. You're going to get what you want. And generally the other cards in the spread will give an indication of what that thing is that's going to be given. The Nine of Cups also, you see him sitting there smiling and feeling like overjoyed because he accomplished something, something that's bringing emotional fulfillment. So Nine of Cups can be about feeling like the perfect relationship, the perfect emotional state, everything kind of being in harmony. And if you've been questioning whether or not things are going to fall into place, likely they will. It's just a matter of really focusing on what your goals are. This can be also about wishes being granted because of your good gesture. So that's kind of interesting. In the center position, we have the Queen of Swords coming up. So this can be talking about really strong air elements. So if you happen to have a connection to somebody who's got, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius placements, or if you have those placements in your natal chart, or just coming into contact with somebody who's going to be very strong with communication. So the Queen of Swords can be somebody who wants to talk to you about writing something or about promoting something, wants to talk to you about teaching something, wants to talk to you about really getting your voice out there. If it's not another person, it can be you. So it can be you kind of tuning into your inner voice and your inner knowing and being like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I have to say. This is what I'm going to initiate. Queens are about nurturing something. So it doesn't mean that it's not action oriented, but it means that you're nurturing something that is a talent of yours. So if you've been thinking about writing a book, publishing something, starting a business, starting a campaign, putting something out there that's really big, that requires a lot of communication and intelligence, and a sense of just like knowing. It's basically saying like that's coming together for you right now. That's kind of like in the mix. The final card that you get is the Strength card. So this might be an indication of when the sun gets into Leo. Okay, so Leo season is when things are going to kind of shape up for you. It can also be an indication that you're going through a period where you're feeling like you're being tested, and you're like, something's good has got to come from this, because you know, you're like, I'm just going to keep focusing on my goal ahead, but maybe you feel like you're just having to kind of cut through the thickness of life right now. The Strength card does talk about the emotional strength and the spiritual strength that comes from overcoming obstacles, learning how to remain open and receptive of what life has to offer. It's also about this cycle of things that are going to keep coming through until you learn to be more so open and almost like forgiving. Like this energy is also about being forgiving. Maybe it's about cutting yourself some slack. And not putting yourself in a position of feeling like you have to, you know, do so much. It's about letting life happen, letting things kind of come on their own, and the beauty in the process of being able to see things develop in their own sense. Confirmation card that I got for you is the 8 of Wands. So once again, this is everything's going to move forward type of energy. 2 8s is definitely hinting at things that are moving forward in July and August. I do feel like this is about things speeding up very quickly in your life, and that there is like a sense of you getting really enthusiastic and excited about going in a new direction. Don't force these energies, just let them happen. And if you allow things to unfold, sometimes people get so fixated. I see this with my clients a lot on like their end results, right? If you're manifesting, and you're like, I want this one thing. I want this one business to take off. I want this one relationship. I want this one chance at, you know, whatever. People get so hung up on the end result that they freak out when there's stuff that kind of takes them off course or does not necessarily pan out the way they thought it was going to pan out. But sometimes there has to be a series of reorganizing things and like letting certain things fall apart so other things can kind of come together. So it doesn't make sense when you're in it, but I always tell people, trust the process, because if that's what you're seeing as the end result, you don't know what's going to happen in the in-between. You just have to let the pieces fall into place. So I think a lot of this is just letting life happen without feeling like you have to force things to happen or be like super mentally stressed about it. And like, yes, you can be very goal oriented with the 9 of Cups coming up and being really adamant about what you're hoping to achieve. You're going to get it, but allow everything to kind of come together organically. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. What's up, Wild Tarot? Readings for the evening are closed. Sorry, Lil, but we'll be back next week. Hey, Allie. I do check out my website. My links are below. My website's at beyondtheveiltarot.com. I do private readings. So we've got Leslie, Miss V, and then Jennifer. All right, Leslie. Let's see. Did you ask a question? Or was it general? I think I saw anything. Are you here, Leslie? Leslie says general reading for a relationship. So we're going to give her a general reading for her relationship. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. He's an Aries sun, Aries moon, Pisces rising. Holy cannoli. Taurus sun, Aries moon, Pisces rising. I don't even know I read it. Okay. At least you guys are both Aries moons, right? Aries sun, Aries moon, Pisces rising sounds chaotic. So let's see what you need to know about your relationship. How are you guys doing after the eclipse? Did you guys have a meltdown? Aries moons. Aries moons. Oh my God, there's so much drama with that eclipse. I'm over it. We've got 7 of Cups, the Lovers card, and the Knight of Pentacles. This kind of makes me chuckle. When I see the 7 of Cups and the Lovers card always come up, it's kind of like, what's going to happen? Are we going to work? Like, is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? Like, there's a lot of like future tripping almost about all the potential possibilities that could happen in regards to a relationship. Keep in mind that the 7 of Cups is like a throwing spaghetti at the wall type of card, right? You don't know what's going to hit. So when you see this in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, you see that there's like all of these different cups, and some are covered, and there's like different like monsters, and there's like smoke and mirrors, and you just don't know what you're gonna get. So it can talk about being in a period or a state of confusion. It can also talk about being in a situation where you don't know which way it's gonna go, you don't know what to trust. There's a lot of things that are interfering, okay? So sometimes when the Seven of Cups comes up, it can be somebody who's dealing with depression, it could be somebody who's, you know, on substances or drinking, or there's all kinds of just emotions coming up out of the blue, and you're like, where is this coming from? I did not expect this. So there is a need to like not assume worst case scenario, or not future trip, or assume that any series of things are gonna play out because nothing is defined yet, basically. Think of the eclipse that happened as like a emotional like dump. I mean, that's what it was if you have a new moon in Aries, and it was showing all kinds of stuff that might have been lurking in the subconscious that is now becoming clear. Then we have the Lover's card. So that talks about options and choices in relationships. It talks about whether or not in the midst of the chaos, if you guys still choose each other, find each other, decide to move forward, if there's other options, other choices. If you guys are going to decide to go through it together. So being that he has an Aries sun and moon, the eclipses are very strong for him. And you know, it's in his second house to his ascendant. So it's about him showing up and owning his behavior. It's about him showing up and becoming more financially responsible, really working on his money skills, working on his ability to work and get the job done. So kind of contradicting, right? With Neptune's in his sign and Saturn's in his sign, because there can be a sense of like really needing to grow up and mature and like look past that Neptunian kind of haze and go, this is what I want, this is what I can create, this is what I'm working hard towards. And I feel like the Lover's card, I mean, in this deck, there's two. This is one that talks more about the divine union and the commitment to one another and the willingness to do the work. But we also know that with the Lover's card, it represents this mirror energy that's kind of like Gemini, that some people say, okay, twin flames, you know, soulmates, like if you believe in that stuff. But it talks a lot about like sometimes meeting the person or being with the person that you need to be with for growth, and like choosing to endure some of those situations with that other person, because it does mean that you guys are learning some of those soul lessons that you've agreed to kind of come into this lifetime and do together. So it does talk about choosing each other. So I don't necessarily feel like there is a sense of losing one another. The Knight of Pentacles makes me feel like he may be approaching the relationship much more cautious now, especially with Saturn in his sign. I wonder if it's going to be him being like, I'm hesitant to fully involve myself. I'm, you know, cautious. I'm not sure. I need some time, you know, and really realizing that there's a lot that probably needs to be done on his part in order to really show up for the relationship. And so the Knight of Pentacles is working actively on, you know, his career, on his resources, on his health, on his habits. It does talk about slow and steady. So it does say that there is some message that comes with him being like, hey, I still care. I'm in it. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Perhaps maybe, you know, there's fear of not having that security, but I feel like it's still there, even if it's not visible. I also get the impression that, you know, this is about you really watching his actions, not his words, watching his actions and seeing what happens and what actions he takes proactively to work on himself. And there in turn, maybe it gives you the space to do the same and then decide if you guys can like meet back in the middle, right? Yeah, things seem a little chaotic with that Seven of Cups. And so I feel like whatever chaos or meltdowns or like whatever happened, you know, it needed to happen to be able to kind of clear things out and make you guys both acutely aware of what you guys really need for more, for better emotional security, right? Hopefully that's helpful for you, Leslie. Good luck. That was a gnarly moon. Yeah, as an Aries moon myself, not a fan, not a fan. We've got Crystal, Jennifer, and then Michelle. So Crystal, Miss V, says, one card reading. Will I get the job on Monday? I have an interview at 3 p.m. Let's take a look. You get the Ace of Swords, new beginnings, offerings. That for me would be one of the cards that makes me feel like somebody would say, here's what we're offering you, right? You know, do you accept this offer? Ace of Coins would have been another one, maybe 10 of coins, 3 of coins. But Ace of Swords is definitely a response, and very likely somebody who's saying, hey, do you want this? But the confirmation card I got for you is the 4 of Pentacles, which is kind of saying, this is what we can offer you at this time. So there is like a sense of there being a, if you want it, here's what we'll offer you, but maybe potentially having to make a sacrifice, not getting the hours or the exact salary that you were hoping to get. There being a decision as to whether or not you can commit to this and if you're going to get enough of what you need out of it. But the Ace of Swords is a message, an email, a letter, a phone call, and it's an action revolving around initiating and starting something new. So I do think that they may say to you, well, how soon could you start? Are you, how soon could you get in here? Do you have to give notice? It might be something very swift. So if you're looking at getting a job, it makes me wonder, do you get a job and is that great, but you have to cut or sever something else, or you have to tell another person, hey, by the way, I don't think I can work here anymore and I gotta peace out. And you may not be able to stay, or in order for you to accept the position, you may have to kind of jump from one thing to the next. And you might have to feel like you have to kind of sever a pre-existing commitment. So I'm wondering, like, are you working somewhere else? Are you volunteering somewhere? Are you still interning? If that's the case, it looks like you're gonna get an offer, but you're gonna be like, okay, like, is this a good move? 4 of Pentacles does seem to kind of suggest that there is a sense of being like, okay, do I, take that offer, or do I stay where I'm at? So getting an offer, yes, I think you will. Do you take the offer? That's up to you. That's free will. So you'll have to decide whether or not this resonates with what you're hoping to get in terms of salary and the ideal schedule or position, and whether or not you feel like it's worth something, it's worth holding on to or holding off until you get a better offer. Okay. You just graduated. Okay, cool. Yes, I do. You're gonna get something, but you have to ask yourself, especially 4 of Coins is like, do I see myself wanting to stay there? Is that something that is going to give me what I want? Leslie says, "Oh man, that explains everything. That gave me the chills." He's in the military, finally realizing that he's needed at home. We've been together for 15 years, so we don't even know what we're thinking. The eclipses in Aries is about connecting to the moon. So it can be about bringing everybody home, right? Bringing everybody home. We've got Jennifer, Michelle, Brandon, and Silk. Ben, what's up? Ben says, I have a random transit question. Is Jupiter activating the eclipse we just had in Aries? Yes. It will be doing that up until the 15th or the 16th when Jupiter goes into Taurus. It'll get activated again in July when the North Node hits that. That's why everything feels so fast right now. Did anybody notice that? I feel like every time I look at the clock, I'm like, how is it? It's like 3 or 4 hours. Like, feels like something's speeding up. All right, so we have got Jennifer, who says, what's going on with where I'm going to live the next 2 years, and will I stay at my job? Okay, let's take a look. What's going on with where I'm going to live, and will you stay at your job? All right. So we've got Hangman, Queen of Wands, 9 of Pentacles. What? That's a great spread. So first of all, Hangman is so appropriate if you're asking a tarot reader about what the future holds, because you're kind of like, I'm in limbo. Like, well, I can't even make a decision. Where is my life going? I'm just chilling, just waiting to see kind of what transpires, or I'm stuck. I can't make a move yet, or I need to figure out, how something else plays out before I leave. The Hangman is about like taking time out to just rest and reflect and ask yourself, like, instead of looking at the situation like you're stuck or you're suspended or you're having to hit pause. Sometimes this card comes up for clients when they talk about moving or, work situations. They go, well, you know, I've got a job where I'm working at now and it's great, but I want something else, but I want to move, but I don't know if I should take a job at another place, or I want to move and I can't because I'm, you know, limited because my kids go to school, you know, at this school and they won't graduate for like another 2 years or something. So I get the impression that the hangman is kind of like you going like, I could do some things, but I'm also kind of feeling like I can't really make a move yet. And I'm kind of stuck where I'm at for the time being until I see the next step or the next opportunity that's been presented. Queen of Wands is making magic happen. So the Queen of Wands talks about you personally being a woman, or kind of tapping into this inner kind of lioness energy. It's connected to Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Being creative, being quick, thinking on your feet, initiating things, you know, making stuff happen. So instead of being like, oh, I have to wait around for another couple of years until I can get myself out of this situation, it's about being like, no, I'm going to get creative with how I can make this happen. So Queen of Wands can be a self-starter. She can also be somebody who comes into your life that guides you and gives you some opportunity to really start focusing on like your creative passions and desires. It can be working for yourself. It can be entertainment. It can be art. It can also be anything in regards to entertaining, socializing, stuff like that. And then the Nine of Pentacles is an even better card because it talks about being like a self-helped lady. So it's going like, yeah, I built my own business. I made my own way and I made this happen. And really taking pride and stock in the fact that you can do it yourself. So I wonder if this is about you kind of taking your power back in the situation rather than waiting for things to happen, being like, okay, no, if my goal is to be able to move, then what am I doing to be able to start working towards, you know, making that a reality? And also it looks like you're going to be successful in doing it on your own. It's not a matter of money being an issue. So if you're thinking more about, well, where am I going to live? And, you know, like what's going on with my job? The question is do you like your job? If you don't, you feel stuck there, or if you feel stuck in where you're living, you're going to start taking active steps forward in creating more financial security for yourself in a way that's also giving yourself independence so you can live where you want to live. And you may not feel bound by a situation where, you know, you don't have the resources necessary. I also wonder if it's going to be about looking in other places to potentially relocate or get a job in another place and maybe getting a better offer, getting a better salary. Because the Nine of Pentacles says like, oh, I might have been offered just a standard salary in one city, but I was offered so much more and bonuses and this and that in another location, which would, you know, give you more means to be able to pick up and leave and go somewhere else. So a lot of this is about kind of building up that momentum of getting excited and kind of psyched about the fact that change is coming. There's going to be something brand new. You have the opportunity to be more active and more creative and get yourself out of a position where you felt like you've been stuck. When you're asking revolving around like, you know, work and stuff, it is what you make it. You know, it does seem like you could take some chances and things could pan out and be very lucrative, especially if you're moving into more creative kind of positions professionally. I do feel like staying at your job, yeah, as long as you're going to be given what you're worth, or you're going to be given a position of, you know, higher ranking, or, you know, you're going to be respected and you're going to be given some authority to kind of have more independence. Yes. If not, then it looks like you're going to be finding a way to, you know, secure that by going elsewhere. But yeah, you're getting out of this stuck phase. You know, you're finally like, I'm not going to like wait for life to happen. I'm going to make things happen. So you're coming out of that. It looks like you've been there for a couple years, honestly. Good luck. That's a great spread. That looks like you've got a lot of ideas in terms of where you want to go. It's all just about kind of initiating them. So I've got Michelle. And Michelle says, I'm being slaughtered by the energies recently. Help. Let me pull up your comments here. I know you said something. There she is. Okay. So let's just see what the cards say for you, Michelle. If you have any questions, let me know. Oh, there we go. I can't focus on anything but decorating my home. I feel a bit lost and apathetic, yet super productive at home. Guidance, please. Gemini, Sun, Aries, Sag, Ascendant. Well, it's because you got Saturn in your 4th. And Jupiter's going through your 5th, so you want to be creative at home. All right, let's take a look. Thank you very much, Jenny. I just read your message. I'm glad to hear that that resonated with you. All right, Michelle, let's see what's going on if you're getting slaughtered by these energies. Ah! Challenging. Saturn in the fourth. Sag risings are not a fan because you guys feel a little weighed down, stuck at home. All right, so this was the order. I have 10 of Swords, 2 of Wands, and the Devil card. Okay, so first of all, Saturn is the Devil card. So I think a lot of this is connecting to Saturn. It might be beneficial for you to learn about the Saturn transit in your 4th house. Jupiter, other eclipses, North Node moving through your 5th, what you're creating, what you're designing, what you're decorating, right? It sounds like silly, but like that's actually where you're meant to be going. I feel like the 10 of Swords is also like a lot of reflecting on like what has ended. Like maybe there's like a sense of you really looking around and being like, okay, so this is the aftermath of the last few years of my life. And like, here I am, now what? I think the 10 of Swords can be about acknowledging that certain things are over, dealing with the past, grieving, you know, having to acknowledge that certain things are done or that certain things have kind of run their you know, period. I also think that this is very much the 6th house energy. You know, the fact that Jupiter's going into your 6th house is like, okay, how do I better my schedule? How do I better my health? And it's going to come into some friction with Mars and Pluto, which means there is a need for you to really look at productivity. Okay, so it might be beneficial for you to get like a productivity journal, work with a digital calendar, working with a coach can be really helpful. And acknowledging that you're like, it's time to put the past in the past. We're starting new cycles. Even if you don't have a set schedule, a routine, or work, or anything like that, it's about creating that sense of structure with Jupiter in the North Node in your 6th. When you're eating, when you're creating, when you're taking rest time, and making sure that you're doing that so that way you're not setting yourself up for burnout. Because I think a lot of Sag risings are realizing that through these transits that are coming, health problems, anxiety issues, mental health stress, stuff like that is a result of burnout. So you're going to be building a life revolving around not having that, so that way you're taking time to kind of rest and recuperate more often. 2 of Wands, what does the future hold? Where am I going? What's possible? Being optimistic, anticipating what's coming in the future. This can be being at the precipice of making a change or deciding that you're going to move, relocate, change jobs, you know, change something about your habits. And getting ready to actively do it. And I think with the Devil card coming up, and that's very much Saturn in your 4th, being like, how am I going to approach looking at having more time at home? What can I do productively at home? What can I think about in terms of my past home, my patterns, my habits, my emotions, my family, my relatives? And where am I restructuring my home base? So Saturn through the 4th house is like sometimes dealing with heavy family stuff. Sometimes there are elderly relatives that need assistance. Sometimes we have problems with parents. Sometimes we reflect on that stuff. And I like that Saturn's in a Pisces sign because it means that you can actually do stuff around the home revolving around art, creativity, and design. So there's a way to feel productive while designing your home, organizing your home, making it more comfortable, making it super zen, while still leaning into some of these creative transits in your 5th and your 6th house. Saturn and the Devil are basically limitations. So where you feel stuck, where you cannot break free. And I think a lot of this for you is about breaking out of old emotional patterns. If you're finishing up your 2nd Saturn return, then I definitely feel like the goodies start to come right when Saturn is around 10 degrees away from your natal Saturn. So if you had Saturn in Aquarius, you're going to start seeing very soon that, you know, these planets going into Gemini in this next month are going to start trining and making all kinds of aspects to your Saturn, which is going to open up relationships as a Sag rising. So it's how you're communicating and connecting with people. I feel like also it's about like getting on apps, talking to people, being active within your local community, because it's going to be about a sharing and exchanging energy that you're having with others. And just definitely switching up your schedule. So yeah, you might feel like you're kind of stuck or close to home or you're at home more often, but you don't have to stay at home. You can get outside, you can garden, you go for a walk around the block, you can go and hang out with, you know, a local like neighborhood group. There's a lot of other things that you can do while Saturn's in your 4th house. For me, you know, I had Saturn going through my 4th house I have it natally. It sucks. It's heavy for people who have late Scorpio risings, early Sag risings right now. You know, I'm talking to so many of these people because they're just like, oh, I'm just like in the thick of, you know, this heavy emotion. I always remind you guys that that is the base of your chart. That is the foundation of your chart. You're rebuilding the whole foundation, the structure of your natal chart, your home. So a lot of people need to find homes. A lot of people need to really reflect on their past, their legacy, where they come from. Pisces is a sign that's about emotions, and it's about the invisible world. So a lot of it can be about feeling like you don't get seen, people don't hear you, you're not connecting with certain relatives, or you're isolated from friends or family. And so the best way to work with Saturn is to kind of take a look at what Saturn rules in your chart. The second house is money, resources, possessions. The third house is going to be communications, gadgets, and also cars. So some of you guys may need to get a new phone so you can FaceTime grandma. Some of you guys may need to be more proactive in calling and checking in with people, or getting in the car and going to visit them. And also journaling helps, you know, connecting and communicating with people. I've seen a lot of Scorpio risings and Sag risings get into telehealth like therapies. And it's really great for the transits because you have Saturn in the 4th house, which is about emotions, but Pisces is screens. For you, I think it's about dealing with the heaviness. And as a natal Saturn in the 4th, you got to find ways to welcome Saturn into your home. Something I used to do during my Saturn return is I would literally get up in the morning on Saturdays. I would make sure I put out a Saturn symbol somewhere in my house, and I would welcome Saturn into my home, and I would work on Saturday. Maybe on Saturdays you do some emotional housekeeping, or maybe you do some journaling. Maybe that's the time that you connect with your family, right? Try to stay away from black, right? Take a lot of hot baths with salt and, you know, anything that's going to be clearing. Pisces is really great with like lemon and geranium, obviously sea salt, Epsom salt, and that's going to help kind of like clear stuff. Florida water too can be really helpful. Try to clear up your house. Don't let things get dark. Open up all the doors and the windows, so that way you're not getting like that sadness that's creeping in. And clean the floors with some salt water. It'll help. But this is about you, I think, also making peace with the state of where some things are within either your emotions or your relationships with home and family, and where you have felt blocked. And so now it's time to kind of lift that, right? Sending you all the good vibes with all that productivity energy in your 6th. Herbs can be really helpful for Sag risings in balancing out some of these emotions. Hopefully that's helpful. I got Brandon, and then I have Silk and Susan. What's up, Brandon? Brandon says, my question would be the outcome if I were to begin a physical form of creative expression, like dancing. Okay, let's take a look. So Brandon wants to know what that outcome would be if you end up doing something creative that's also expression-based. Ooh, Brandon, I love this for you. You get the 10 of coins. Working hard for the money. I know you're doing it for creative purposes, but I wonder if it's something that could be lucrative as well, because 10 of Pentacles is about being like, I've turned it into a business, or this is something that's successful, or I'm mastering this trade, or, you know, this ability to express myself. This is more a business card. This is more a professional card. Will you end up doing it professionally? Do you end up deciding that you want to teach other people? Are you going to be dancing, obviously creatively, but performing and trying to do it as like a career, right? I love that for you in a sense of this card. And I also know that a lot of the transits going through your chart are going to be about making money in a much more creative way. So yeah, being creative, self-expressing, but money too, and also mastering something, and maybe being in a position where you're making money for a living doing that. Yes. I do think that that is possible. Keep in mind that a lot of the things that you're going to be initiating and starting, it will take time for that to develop, because 10 of Pentacles talks about a whole cycle. So it may be something that you start now, but it might be 10 months from now that's how you're making a living, or 10 years from now that you're opening up a dance studio, or maybe you're performing professionally and like traveling, right? So that's a really good sign that, yes, do it. At the very least, it's fulfilling. At the very most, it could end up being something that could actually provide some kind of support for you in terms of your professional goals moving forward. Really awesome card. We've got Yoga with Silk. And Silk says, question for S. How does the breakup feel about me after the breakup? Okay. Was I only supposed to say S? Sorry, I'm not sure how to interpret that. How do they feel about the breakup after the breakup? It was in this order. Six of Swords, Five of Wands, Queen of Wands. Six of Swords is kind of like moving on, but not so much willingly. Like being put in a position that's like, okay, well, I have no other choice but to move forward. Did things not go so well at the end? Like Five of Wands and the Queen of Wands makes me feel like there was a sense of you being like, I'm not getting what I need, or this isn't working for me, or I need to see some kind of change, or like maybe going through the breakup and then trying to wait and see how they were going to respond, whether or not they were going to rise to the occasion. You know, Six of Swords is limbo. It's like they're not over it yet. They're not identifying as being broken up yet. They're not acknowledging that it's done yet. They have not moved on, so it's about kind of being in between. So have they gotten over it? No. Are they acting as if they're single yet? No. I think they're fighting it. I think there's also some frustration because the Five of Wands comes up saying there's some internal conflict or some external conflict that was like, okay, well, I had no other choice. You know, the Queen of Wands coming up can be really fiery, really feisty, somebody who's just like, this is what I want and this is how I want it. And it's not about being mean or demanding or bossy. It's just kind of being like, less talk, more action. Are you going to get with the program or not? Okay, well, you're not doing it. This is what I'm doing. You won't do it. I'll do it. So even if it wasn't a dynamic where they broke up with you, the cards kind of read like you were the one running the show, being like, this isn't working for me, or if you don't, get with it, I'm going to move on. And that this person did not like either being put in that position or they weren't thrilled about that. And they still have some feelings revolving around being like, I don't agree. I didn't want this, or, a feeling like they're being picked on, or that, there was an exchange between the two of you that they're not in agreement with. Five of Wands is a combative energy. You see a bunch of people that are all arguing and they've got their wands in the air, and some people are getting hit and other people are kind of running and ducking for cover. So it makes me wonder if there's been radio silence and you're anticipating like, okay, well, are they over it yet? Or are they not over it? What's going on? Because it's their way of diffusing the situation. Rather than there continuing to be either conflict or disagreements, it's like, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone because it seems like you're really angry and whatever happened. We had a blow up and I'm going to let you have what you want to have. So this person may assume that you're upset or that you're moving on or that you're, having expectations that they're not meeting. And they may think that it's easier to not be in contact or be connecting right now because that may be what you want. So I'm wondering if there's like some missed messages here where you're like, well, yeah, we had that, but that doesn't mean I don't care and I'm not hearing from them. They may assume that you want your space. The confirmation card that I get is the Page of Pentacles. Which does make me feel like they're learning something from this exchange. There is a sense of maybe this person realizing that they weren't as ready as they presented themselves to be in a relationship, because when the Queen of Wands shows up, she's like, okay, let's do this. Or she's asking for something, or she needs more excitement, or she needs more togetherness. And she wants to see the relationship grow. And he may have been, or they may have been presenting themselves in a way where they were ready. And then the conflict was actually stemming from the fact that that person may not have been as ready as they thought they were when it came to doing the relationship dance. So I don't think they're angry. I think that they're still, not totally on board with the fact that maybe you guys are broken up, and they're still struggling or wrestling with the fact that things went down the way that they went down, but they're learning from the situation and also kind of looking at it and going like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Where can I grow, right? Where can I grow and where can I evolve? And like, what does conflict teach us? Conflict's going to be such a huge theme here the next couple of weeks. We're going to see Mars square Jupiter, Mars opposed Pluto, Mars square the nodes. Some things are worth fighting for, but for other people, it's just going to be some straight up petty ego drama. And you're going to see lots of issues where people are getting angry because they really don't like going through some kind of change. So I feel like you've been like the initiator of let's change, let's grow, this is what we can do. And like somebody may have been resistant to that. And rather than getting on board with making these changes, the conflict happened and they may not have rose to the occasion. So stay in your lane. If you're still focusing on your self-growth and development, you got to wait and see if they actually end up kind of coming back and meeting you halfway, because they're thinking about it. The confirmation card being the Page of Pentacles is saying they're thinking about it. They're starting to kind of reevaluate where they can grow, but you're still a queen and they're a page. So there's like an imbalance maybe that's been going on because you've been more so ready than them and they have to do the work. Hopefully that's helpful. I have Susan, who has one card question. Let's see. Did she ask a particular question? Where are you, Susan? Was it Susan or Suzette? It just says one card reading. Let me know if you have a particular question. Otherwise, I'll pull a card for you. So this will be one card for Susan. Oof, there's that 10 of Wands again. Moving through the heaviness, completing old cycles, feeling the burden of having to pick up, carry on, move, let something go. Questioning whether or not the end is near in terms of like a situation involving lots of heaviness. Now, wands deal with like moves, creativity, completing a project, getting to the end of something that you've been really hard on working towards. But it also is the sense of getting to the finish line and like feeling overwhelmed and being like, okay, I'm ready to just let it go. Sometimes this card comes up for people when they're feeling like there's a burden and it's only up to them to be able to carry this burden, that they don't always feel like they have help or support. So when this card comes up, I remind my clients, like, it's important to like really recognize and realize either that you need to complete a cycle and let something go, or that it's important for you to recognize that you've come a long way and like it's okay to say, okay, this ends here. Now I'm moving on to the next chapter. Physical moves, also physical ailments can come up with this card as well. And feeling like you're the person who's just kind of carrying the world on your shoulders, right? The weight of it. Especially if you see there in this card, there's something on her back. She's carrying also a baby. She's got people behind her carrying things. So this card comes up a lot with being like, yeah, it's just there's a lot on my shoulders right now and I'm balancing everything. Can I continue to keep doing this? Well, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So sometimes this card is about kind of learning to let things go or asking for help so you don't have to be the only one who's responsible for carrying the load. Intuitively, I also feel like with that card coming up, it can mean that there is a sense of moves and relocations or having to physically go somewhere or having to literally deal with a physical matter. Yeah. But the good news is the 9 of Cups came up as your confirmation card. So it's kind of saying like reaching certain goals, feeling tired, but feeling accomplished and finally getting to a point where you feel like you can get settled and appreciate everything that you have been able to accomplish thus far, and cycles completing themselves. Still a lot of pushing and motivation though. So you'll see this over the next 10 days, 10 weeks, and then finally kind of complete this cycle. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Susan. I don't know if you're still here or if you're tuning in. Let me see, did I get everybody? Okay, I think we did. All right, so that looks like that's everybody. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Natalie snuck in there. I take that back. Natalie snuck in there. I was like, there has to be one more person. Natalie says, there's been a really interesting development in a relationship between me and one of my clients. He is older and married, yet somehow there is really explosive chemistry along with us having a myriad of things in common. I'm wondering if this is potentially the man I have previously dreamt of. I've been really surprised to watch the surface. I don't have any other man in my life that I can think of connecting to in the dream. I definitely don't want to get involved in a situation that is potentially going to hurt someone if he is not open, in an open relationship. Okay, let's take a look. Sounds like Jupiter in the 8th stuff. So let's take a look and let's see what's going on between the relationship with you and this person, and what could potentially be coming up, and is he connected to those dreams that you've been having? Here's the cards that I have in the order that I received them. 2 of Wands, Lover's card, High Priestess. It looks like he is very strongly tied to your dreams. Confirmation card, Page of Cups. Oh boy. Options, choices, right? That's the name of the game. You have placements, if I remember correctly, in Gemini, right? I know you're Libra rising, but 2 of Wands talks about doors opening, options, potentials, what direction you're going in, evaluating whether or not you want to initiate something, take a step forward, try something out. It can talk about options, so there can be a sense of, do I go left or do I go right? But it can be also about just being open to what's being presented to you. It can be presented to you, but you don't have to act on it, right? Although I think you will, because the Lover's card comes up, and the Lover's card does talk about temptation and whether or not you're going to give in to some type of temptation. It does talk about divine union, partnerships, confirmation, coming through your dreams, High Priestess, and the visions that you're having that somebody was kind of coming. I also feel like the Lover's card talks about being in a situation where somebody else has a choice, right? Somebody can be married, but they can make the choice to go, okay, if there's a connection that I'm having to somebody, or if I'm wanting to follow up with this, I can make a choice to, do what I have to do in my relationship before moving forward. So choices in both, on both of you guys right now. And the High Priestess is interesting. She doesn't have to do anything. She just sits there and things come to her. Messages come to her, visions come to her. She has this sense of knowing. So maybe it's been about you kind of telling yourself, okay, I'm having these dreams. I don't have to initiate anything. This person's going to come into my life, and when they do, I will know. This is giving you the confirmation that this is more or less what you've been dreaming about, but does that mean that it's meant to be? No, you can be picking up the fact that somebody is coming in that you have a really strong soul tie to, who may be in a complicated situation and may potentially be surveying and seeing what else is out there. What will be offered to you will be a romantic exchange or the gift of a potential relationship or something that's very casual. It can be innocent, right? The Page of Cups doesn't have to be a sexual relationship, doesn't have to be a physical relationship. It can be a really strong emotional bond, and knowing that there is like a sense of being drawn towards each other and having feelings for one another. It really just needs to be that. It doesn't need to be anything other than that. I do feel like there is a sense of you being really cautious with moving forward. Like you said, not wanting to get making sure nobody gets hurt. The Page of Cups is really touching on the fact that you can have this connection, but it does stay innocent and it's not something that develops into something sexual. But relationship cards or potential future seeding of relationship cards for me would be the Page. Somebody who you have a really deep soul tie to, or somebody who isn't just going to go away very easily, is the Lovers. And I do feel like this might be the encounter that made you realize, like, okay, this person is out there. And it may be the encounter that made him realize, like, if you're not happy in a relationship, there are other people out there who you can have that spark with. But that requires you to make decisions and also, really be decisive and not be giving into having relationships with people where the spouse may not know. I mean, the Lovers card and the High Priestess can definitely indicate that there is like a pull towards two people coming together, and it may be something that could be a little bit top secret or taboo. You know, Pluto's coming, you know, in and out of Aquarius, so it's trining your ascendants, trining Gemini stuff pretty soon. And you want to watch also for, you know, the transits that are going to be going through your 8th house, because there's going to be lots of conjunctions, which could be changes in relationships and secrets and intimacy, which will kind of rile all of this stuff up. It represents other people. So for you to be concerned about how it affects him or how it affects, you know, his relationship, it sounds like you're tapping into the High Priestess and realizing like there may be a connection there, but it may be down the road, and like, you know, what needs to happen here where we acknowledge that maybe there's a connection before both of us make decisions about considering what the future may hold. It might just needed to be like a chance connection, right? But yeah, visions, definitely the High Priestess. And I think with the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, it's about that emotional connection. Like your emotions or your intuition is going to be telling you like, okay, is this a thing? Can you guys be friends? That would be the first start. This is sexual energy. But Page of Cups can be, you know, okay, can we be friends? Can we have an emotional connection? Can we engage with each other in a way that's respectful, not only of one another, but also pre-existing relationships? And making it clear that even though you acknowledge there is a connection, that you prefer to keep things PG, and you know, you don't know what the future holds, but you just know that you're going to continue to kind of see and tap into what's going on with that connection, because it might be pretty significant. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Sounds like a high adventure with the retrograde. Mercury going retrograde. Mercury is the dispositor of your Venus, so that retrograde is about changing things up in regards to relationships with other people. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you for spending Friday night with me. I will be back next week on Friday. We're going to be doing astrology, and the astrology this next week is bananas. So if you guys want to get a reading, you can join my level 3. You'll be at the top of my list, or I will probably post the link Wednesday or Thursday of this next week. You guys can sign up early if you would like. And make sure that you watch the new moon video coming out on Sunday on the new moon in Taurus. And thank you guys so much. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like the stream before I sign off. And I will see all of you guys in this next week. Enjoy the new moon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You guys take care.